This podcast is brought to you by the Foundation for World Harmony and by the Spur of the Moment podcast.
Come with me to discover the transformative power of kindness and the joy it brings. Join me as we explore every Monday morning simple yet profound ways to elevate your happiness, one gesture at a time.
Wow, fantastic baby, dance. I'm gonna dance. Fantastic baby.
Fantastic day to one and all. I hope you had a fantastic week, and I hope you did something that really made you happy every single day of the week, because that's what we're on the planet for, to be happy. And this is just another edition of the complete guide to happiness. I hope you've been enjoying the past episodes. I've had some fantastic guests. Everyone has a different spin on what makes you happy or how they define happiness. But it's what it is. Everyone's got a different point of view, and that's what makes us all completely different. So let me read today's motivational quote. Get my glasses out. Getting old here. So who is this that said that? Someone very important said, sometimes it takes only an act of kindness and caring to change a person's life. It's the smallest acts can make someone happy, I tell you. And I wrote, along with that one, is one kind word, one smile, a positive thought, all can make you and another person happy. Because that's what we want to do. We want to make people happy, but we have to be happy first. First, you come first. And again, I think I've said this before. The analogy is, if you've ever been on an airplane, they say if the oxygen mask drops, put it on first, then help others. Because you can't help anyone if you're dead, or if you're unwell, or if you're unhappy. And I hope this guide to happiness is helping. I've had some really smart people on this show, and we have over 11,100 ambassadors around the world, and they all have a fantastic story. So I hope to interview each and every one of them. And if you're one of my ambassadors and you haven't yet been interviewed, please get a hold of me. You know how to get a hold of me. I have smoke signals, a way of getting a hold of me here in Antigua. I've got X, I've got TikTok, I've got Facebook, I've got Instagram, I've got this channel, and I got a telephone. I got 3 or 5 telephones at this point. I've got WhatsApp, I've got YouTube, everything. Get a hold of me, and I'm here to make you happy. And we have a fun guest. He's a new ambassador. His name is Robert Morrissey. He's a friend of a friend. You know, that's how this is growing. Friends of friends are saying, yeah, you ought to really check out Be Fantastic, the movement, the kindness revolution. And he and I had just the most fantastic conversation, because he's a history buff. He's got a really storied past. You know, my past is fairly well storied. You know, my mom dated Reagan. My grandfather was a Keystone Cop. I was raised in show business. Well, not raised. I was born in show business. I was never raised yet. You know, I'm actually an original Beverly Hillbilly. I was born in Beverly Hills, California, but I was raised in the hills in a commune. When only I think 3 or 4 years in the commune, but we didn't have running water or electricity. But we had a fantastic time running around naked in a commune as a child. So that was a great experience. I was born in wealth, raised in poverty, and then after I was orphaned, put in middle-class America. So I've got quite a different view on life, all 3 levels, rich, poor, and middle class. And I treat everyone the same. I've got billionaire friends, I've got poor friends, and I call them all by their first name. And as everyone should. And if you go to World Kindness List, where all our 11,161 ambassadors are listed, you'll see that they are all listed by first name, their city of birth, their country, and it's just a big community, and we got some exciting plans to make everyone happy in this community. It's all free. One of the things I was saying in my last interview was that there's a saying in life, and it says, nothing in life is free. And we've all heard that, because basically nothing in life is free. But this is free. The show is free. The kindness revolution is free. So I say after that, I say there's always a first time for everything, and it truly is free. I know people don't respect free. They think there's a scam, a con, an ulterior motive. But I'm going to prove everyone that the kindness revolution is completely 100% free. We're launching the global kindness social network. It's going to have free conferencing call, free groups that you can join or create, free networking for your business or your pleasure, free water for villages in Africa if they qualify, free computers for schools that qualify, free advice, free kindness classes, all kind of free stuff. Free posters, anti-bullying posters, free kindness pledge posters, free, 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 free. It's all free. It's my gift to the world, and I hope you enjoy it because I want to make everyone happy. Free things. I love free things. Give me a free cocktail. Give me a free banana. I'll accept anything free. Probably comes from being poor. At any rate, so let's get to the guest. This is just a monologue where I talk to an inanimate object, and we're going to have some fun today with Robert. So stay tuned. And of course, don't go away. After Robert's interview, we've got one of my cooking episodes, which are fast, fun, delicious, economical. I think that's about it. And did I say inexpensive? It's fantastic. Okay, talk to you in a bit. Here comes Robert. Well, everyone, I have a fantastic guest, and I put a new backdrop in because this conversation may go where no man has gone before. Because the last time I talked with Robert, and he's a new friend from a very old friend. And we had I thought, a fantastic conversation. Did you think it was pretty cool, Robert?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I did.
So Robert is from San Francisco, California. I used to live in Hillsburg. That was quite an amazing experience as a in a commune. Now it's all the rich people live there. And he's now living in Longmont, Colorado, married with children, living near a lake in a small idyllic community. I mean, this guy's got it going on. I'm so happy for him. And so my first question, Robert, is how do you, because this is the complete guide to happiness. So everything we talk about, we'll try to find an angle that makes you happy, because that's what we're here for, to be happy, right?
Right, sure.
So how do you define happiness?
Ooh, that was a big question right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate, I get a
I think maybe the easiest way to do it is defining happiness is everything but sadness. As long as you're not feeling sad, you should be feeling happy. I think that's kind of my take on it, just looking at the emotional side of it. If I've looked at happiness as an emotion versus just a word or a description, I'm either happy and I feel happy or I'm not. And the goal is to feel happy because that's how your body just, does better. You feel better. Have reasons to get up in the morning, that type of thing.
well, I've always defined happiness as finding something that makes you jump out of bed in the morning. Because if
That
you
could,
jump out
yeah,
of bed in the
exactly.
morning, you're going to love your day. And when you love your day, you have fun. When you have fun, you do it well. And when you do something well, someone's going to pay you for it. But don't jump out of bed for money, is what I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Well, and I'm kind of wired to jump out of the bed happy or sad or pissed or whatever. I'm up, I do it. I do,
Is
you
that
know,
because you're trying to get away from your wife?
no, 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 no. I've got a lot of drive.
That's
I've
great.
got a, as an artist and photographer and stuff like that, my mission is to go see the planet and see what things are happening and be a witness to, the world.
Well, I kind of grabbed the right background. Had I known you were from San Francisco, I would have put the Golden Gate Bridge up because that's pretty cool.
Well,
Cool.
that's where I was born. I was born in San Francisco, and then my parents immediately moved up to Alaska, where my dad was in missile command. And then
Oh, wow.
yeah, then he retired, and we moved down to Huntington Beach. And so I lived in Huntington Beach till I was 12. So that's where I kind of identify from as Huntington. So
Huntington Beach is beautiful. I
yeah,
lived,
actually, it was the little gem right in the middle of it, Fountain Valley, inside Huntington Beach. So it's
oh, I
really
know
nice.
that. Yeah. I used to live near Long Beach. The closest to that one, I think it was Belmont Shores. You know Belmont
Yeah,
Shores? Yeah.
it's a nice area, very nice area.
Yeah. And so you have a company called Big Red Nose.
I
How does
do.
that come about? What the hell does that do?
Well, I'll start off with what it does, right? So Big Red Nose is a photography and video production company for industrial and commercial and governmental and military photography and video projects. So we do from weapons testing to doing how-to videos for maintenance on Job Corps sites to, the foods in your stores and restaurants and grocery stores to big box, all sorts of things. I mean, I've worked from Walmart to Lowe's to Home Depot to the, Department of Labor to, companies that I'm not really technically allowed to name, to oil and gas and solar and on and on.
Well, you can hold a contest and offer $1 million for the person that can figure out what Big Red Nose does, and they will never guess that.
You would never guess it. No, no. And I actually, so it used to be, so I went to art school and it was Big Red Nose was the bad elf that, used to give Santa a hard time. That was just a cartoon I used to draw. And I ended up at this uh, basically this giant thing with businesses all, I guess it was a convention. I don't know. I went there with a friend and they were like, well, you have to have a company name when you're signing in. And I was like, well, I don't have one. Well, you have to have one. So I was just like, all right, Big Red Nose. And I was just a, guy walking around. This was like 25 years ago. And afterwards, I got about 50 calls where people were like, what is Big Red Nose?
Yeah,
And tell me about it. And I was like, oh, I should start a business with this. And so
yeah.
I bought the URL when URLs were just being purchased. And I've owned it since 2000, since 2000. So 25 years I've owned it. And now they have Big Red Nose Day, which is a happy day and all that kind of stuff. And every year somebody tries to, send me a thing. Hey, I'll buy it from you. No, but okay.
Well, it definitely makes you smile. And that's an important thing to do in life.
Yeah.
When I first heard it today, the first thing I thought of was a series I just watched called One Piece, where one of the bad guys, the pirates, has a big red nose. And of
Hmm.
course, that's a clown's famous insignia, I guess, or I don't know, sure the name for it. But we start talking about our past in the last conversation, and you have a storied past, and I do as well. But my great grandfather was the Keystone Cop and a clown, and he's famous for putting the hearts on the cheek.
Oh,
So
really?
every clown had a different like motif.
Hmm.
So maybe that's where I get my sense of humor because I laugh at everything. I don't take life serious, and so
Yeah.
I'm a happy guy.
Yeah, I mean, I take life seriously, but I'm also kind of a Taoist, I think is where you would put it, where, I don't believe I'm owed anything. And therefore, every single thing that I have and every single thing that is presented to me, I see as a gift. And that way, it just makes life a lot easier if you don't think you're owed anything. And then if you do achieve things, be grateful for it. Be happy. Even if somebody gives you a hard time or a bad day or, says something bad to you, at least you're alive to witness it. That's kind of a interesting way. At least that's how I survive.
Well, it's wonderful because it's all how you think. Anyway, Rene Descartes said
Right.
it best. I think, therefore I am.
Right. Well, and a lot of people, you don't know what's going on in anybody else's lives. So expecting them to treat you a certain way means that you would understand what they've gone through maybe that week. They maybe that, morning or, maybe their heater went down. Who knows? That it could be one of those things. And to expect them to do something is just the wrong way to look at it.
So you have empathy for people.
I do. I really do. Life's a pain in the ass. Life is hard. Being human is complicated. I explain that to my kids all the time.
Well, I call being human in today's environment the insanity of humanity. And, people
Right.
too knee-jerk reaction. A car slows down in front of you and you honk. Maybe he spilled coffee on himself. Maybe he just got
Exactly.
word that his wife died. I mean, all kind of circumstances could have affected him slowing down. And with the person that's driving thinking he's doing it on purpose. He's trying to screw
Yeah.
with me. I mean, come
Right.
on, people.
And instead of escalating the problem or escalating the situation, you should see what you can do to help. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously some things escalate and some people are just assholes, but that's why, martial arts, I studied that for years and things of that sort. So you can build up the confidence. I mean, the world's not, just because you're happy doesn't mean there aren't parts of the world that aren't out to get you, but that's what makes it complicated. How do you survive in a world filled with things that
Evil.
are trying to get you as well?
Yeah, I just tell people, 'cause I'm a life coach, philosopher, just turn your back on evil, on negativity. Don't
Yeah.
confront it. Don't fight. Fighting, there's so many people in prisons today that were in a bar fight or a stupid argument. They pushed someone,
Hmm.
the guy fell down or girl hit their head, died, and now you're a murderer the rest of your life from something that we're always going to take, we would always take something over that happened bad. And it's usually an accident,
Hmm.
right? There's only takeovers in third grade, is what I'm told. And so, there's no
Right, right,
takeovers in
right.
life.
Exactly. No, I agree with that completely. Yeah.
So, I put I'm gonna talk about a myriad of subjects because I know you're a history buff and you probably know the history of mankind. Um,
I
what is
kind
it?
of do. I mean, I went to Kansas City Art Institute, which God bless them, they're a great school, over 100 years old. And they actually teach us, or at that time, they taught us the history of humanity through its art. And it was really a fantastic education because all the hard times and all the good times, they're all, shown off in the arts of those times. You think about some of the Picasso paintings and stuff like that, and then you realize as a kid he was witness to, the Spanish Revolutionary War or whatever it was, right prior to World War One, I think. I don't know the exact war, but he was one of the witnesses and to a huge battle in Spain. And then all of a sudden, some of his art expresses that. And that's just one example. And it's over and over. Like our first ideas of artworks were effigies of little people that were buried in the ground so that we could deal with the complexity of losing a human soul. I mean, art is everything.
And they didn't have cameras back then, so
No.
they painted. And I was kind of leading up to something I always love talking about, and that's extraterrestrials, UFOs,
Mhm.
crop circles, abductions. But there's a painting from I think it's called the Madonna, and it's a
Mhm.
beautiful painting, it's worth millions of dollars, I'm sure. And in the far background, there's a man standing with his dog, and he's pointing to the sky, and in the sky is a flying saucer. Have you ever
Sure.
seen that painting?
I probably have. I've seen, thousands of paintings, so I definitely have seen the Madonna if it's that one, yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and Christopher Columbus wrote, because I'm a captain, a yacht captain, and as captains, you write in a logbook what's going on. And on the sailing to America to discover America, which he didn't discover, I guess. And you probably know about that because you're a history buff. He and his crew, in the like the dead of night, saw a light come out of the ocean and in a second shoot to the heavens.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bolt lightning, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I've personally seen UFOs. I've seen
Tell me
pictures.
about it. I got to hear that now.
And I've also met photographers who have photographed crop circles and stuff like that here in America. So that kind of removes the whole idea of two dudes walking around with some sticks making
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Those
That's
guys really did a bad number on crop circles by faking it. And I used to have a
agreed.
post-production company in Los Angeles, and that's when I got really interested because this guy named Delighter, Harry Delighter, and he
Hmm.
was his whole company was crop circles. And so I would go in the lab when we're converting to PAL, which was a thing you did back in the old days,
Hmm.
so the European market could watch the videos. And I watched all his movies on crop circles, and they are beautiful. They are
Yeah,
amazing.
not only, yeah, and the fact that they're basically proven to be bent by some sort of microwave or heat or something of that sort, that just that's mind-boggling.
I know. Well, they looked at it under a microscope, and it's not broken. You're right. It's like grown sideways overnight.
Yeah, it's like bulged and bent, and yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's,
it's in seconds. It's crazy.
it's crazy. And
Yeah.
I actually seen one video where you can see it forming.
Yeah.
There's three balls going around, and you can see it forming.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's hieroglyphics to a higher degree. They're saying something. They even found a rock one time, and that rock was dated as millions of years old or whatever. And there was a crop circle that looked exactly like the design on the rock. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I haven't. No, but that's great.
It's pretty
Yeah,
amazing,
they all come across a little bit like Mandalas or mandalas or whatever they are. The suns that the everything
right?
looks. And I put one of those in almost every painting I do. Um,
Oh,
and it's not those that way. They're more, modern abstract and stuff like that. But I see that as the sun or the skies or whatever, kind of pushing that idea that humans should believe in more. And it's kind of shallow to think that we're the only thing in this entire universe that is intelligent. It's
Well, they say there's,
mental,
excuse me, there's more worlds than there are grains of sands on the planet.
which is crazy. When you think of that, I mean,
A lot
yeah,
of sand.
they're finding, oh, water's pretty much everywhere. Oh,
Yeah.
carbon's pretty much everywhere. All of these amino acids everywhere. It's like, okay, let's go with that.
But we are getting smarter. I mean, in the 50s, the government was paid to tell everyone by the cigarette companies that cigarette smoking was healthy for you.
Hey, what was it? 4 out of 5 doctors, thought Winston was the best one to eat or smoke right after a meal.
Exactly.
Okay.
The insanity of humanity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's something going on.
Now, you've seen the congressional hearings on UFOs, right? You
I
watch
didn't
those?
watch the hearings, but I did watch some of the other excerpts of it. Yeah,
Right,
and
right.
I found it to be amazing. A lot of these videos that have come out, those are great. The videos of this, these ships going back and forth, what do they call them, the Tic Tac and all that kind of stuff. And I love watching, like, I don't know if you watch Oak Island. I think that's a fantastic show where they're trying to think that the Templars uh, might have gotten some of the old relics, which, the Ark of the Covenant's one of them. So and it's hidden on Oak Island. There are all these theories, and the theory that the Ark of the Covenant could be, an alien technology. It all makes sense. I mean, I was raised through Catholicism, but when you look at a lot of the stories, and if and I don't want to upset anybody, but if you replace the word God with, extraterrestrial, it actually makes more sense than,
Well, I always make a joke of it. They say God created the world in 7 days or 6 days, and he took a rest on the seventh day, is what I'm told. I didn't read the
yeah,
Bible.
right.
Well, everyone knows that it takes at least 2 weeks to create the world. Come on, not 6 days.
Right. And then you got to have coffee breaks and smoke breaks, right?
Exactly. Americans love
Nobody's
their
that
coffee breaks,
serious that
any
often.
kind of break.
Yeah.
It's a funny world. I am so curious about everything. I mean, I've always
Yeah.
been curious, and I just want to know everything about everything. I want to know everything about you. I want to know everything about everything. It's just,
Well, I'm a very curious guy too, and one of the things I do that I don't know, have you ever done personally like editorial type photography where you take a camera out there and you try and capture a situation that's going on? You try and,
yeah, I've done that for the last 5 years. I've got 2,100 videos on
there you go.
Befantastic YouTube.
Yeah, and so that is my way of sparking my curiosity and being a witness to it. I'm a firm believer that if you're not on the planet and witnessing the planet happening and witnessing humanity happening, then you might just be, missing your calling or wasting your time here. I mean, you got to be part of it.
Well, I don't know if I'm insane or not, but when I have a really great experience, like right now, it's Holy Week in Antigua, Guatemala, where I'm living,
Okay?
and tens of thousands of people will take to the streets, carry these 100-foot long, um, I guess not statues, but floats, and they
Right.
pay for the privilege, and it's very solemn because it's the death of Christ or whatever. But it's like when I see something like that, I feel I have to share it. It's like a tree falling in the forest. It doesn't make no one hears it, so it doesn't make any sound.
Right.
I don't know why, but I feel I have to. I certainly want to do it, but I don't know why I have to. But I meet some people sometimes that are traveling around the world doing the most amazing things, and they don't share it with a soul. I'm thinking, I mean, that's bizarre for me. It really,
Yeah, it's bizarre for me too. I think sharing is really important. And that's one of the reasons like I lean so, my profession is also my passion, right? I'm very much uh you know being paid to share what I see as I see it. And I've been really fortunate that a lot of corporations and people like the skill set that I have and the way that I see things, right? So I've been really fortunate with that.
well,
And
one
I
of
don't
my sayings is
run
one
it.
of my sayings, excuse me, is sharing is caring, and caring leads to kindness, and kindness leads to happiness. And this is the
Correct.
complete guide to happiness. So sharing is important. Right now, I'm on a mission, as you know, to save the planet from the insanity of humanity. And I'm sharing the wisdom I have of being on the planet for 70 years, which is hard to
Hmm.
say for me. Um, because I made mistakes. We all make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to
Yeah,
fail. If you don't
part of the
fail, you're not
process.
learning. You're not growing. You're not trying new things.
Right. No, it's absolutely part of the process is making mistakes.
Yeah.
Sometimes those mistakes or made for you to feel your own humanity or for others to feel their humanity. I mean, there's a certain inner depth that we need to embrace. And sometimes, when you're tripping over things or things aren't going right, those are the reflections you need to have to realize it's not because I'm an idiot or a fool. It's because this is technically not exactly what we think it is. We're not just like these human creatures that are here for one short moment. We're literally, in my eyes, I believe we're more like um, gods or sentient beings that are here. If you live forever, this is the only place where you can get these feelings,
Yeah.
right? Because if you live forever, you need to disengage from that and go through this. So those moments are meant for you to learn from and to feel from and to collectively understand your humanity from and grow, hopefully.
I always say everything that happens as it should, when it should. And 2 days ago, I got interviewed for Nigerian television, or not radio
Mhm.
rather, and it was a great interview. And I mean, we didn't plan it, but it landed at a half hour. It was
Okay.
a great interview. And then the guy who's the host said it didn't record. Now I
Oh
didn't get upset.
no.
It didn't
Are you trying to
record.
tell me
So
something?
no, listen to the story though. Listen to the story. And and I had a general that was the one that lined it up, a Nigerian general. And so he told me all this, and I didn't get upset because nothing upsets me anymore in life,
Right.
right? And then I wrote a paper that day about the borehole project that I have, which is giving fresh water to Africa.
Okay.
We're drilling holes and getting fresh water because that's really important, fresh water, as you might know. It's the
Yeah.
most important thing on the planet, water. Any rate,
Yep.
so I wrote this great paper and sent it to him. And so the next day we re-recorded it. It still ended up at a half hour. So miraculously, I give my little be kind to speech, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to you went through the whole that rigmarole. Then I had the general read that dissertation on our borehole project, which was amazing. It's really a beautiful. We're going to be sending it to presidents, to the ministries of all over the world because it came out so well.
Oh,
But
that's
everything
great.
happens as it should, when it should. So if you just know and just let your life flow and don't worry about everything and just let it
Right.
happen, it really happens. It's really exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm a firm believer of that. Simultaneously, I also believe there's a bit of a mental side to it where you can, like I've always wanted to be a pro photographer, right? And so to, um, be able to make a living at that, because it's a highly competitive, scenario, but part of that is, wishing for what you want and thinking about what you want to be and, understanding how
Manifestation.
you, yeah, understanding where you are in your own skin. Yeah, manifesting is the perfect, word for it.
Yeah, I'm an expert manifestator.
Yeah.
I mean, and I got it on video, my manifestations. It's proven. It really, the mind, and we see we're all connected. I
Hmm.
can't tell you how many times you probably done this. We all have done it, but we didn't realize it. You're thinking of someone that you know across the planet, and they call you at that moment.
Oh yeah. No, that's happened multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is. It's pretty wild. I mean, that's enough things have happened in my life that I definitely, I may not lean into religious, but it's definitely, there's something more to this than our human brain can, extrapolate. Period.
Quantum entanglement. That's
Correct.
something that nobody can get their head around.
Right. I see it more as, when you explain to me, or it's explained to me that this might be, a complex game or we're just here for emotional, this, that, and the other, and, we're, 80 years out of infinity's nothing. It's like, once you're done, you put in another quarter because you're bored type of thing. I could see that very easily, very
Yeah,
easily.
yeah, and they're proving it now. This
Yeah.
is really great.
Well, and the most mind-boggling thing too is that the time scenario where all things in time happen simultaneously is
Hmm.
mental. Right? It's just like there is no linear timeline. It all happens simultaneously, and we're all functioning through it. My kid and I were just talking about that, and it's just like, you know,
Well, one of the things that they say, is that we can't imagine something that's not possible. And we've imagined Star Trek and Star Wars and
Mhm.
all sorts of damn things. And in the past, if a woman, like in the 1700s in Salem, Massachusetts, would have come out and say, "Yeah, we're going to have airplanes one day," they burned her at the stake. The
Right,
insanity
yeah.
of humanity, right?
Well, we're kind of dealing with that problem even now. Oh, you don't agree with me. Which?
Exactly.
That's just like, come on, you know.
Well, we're so primitive. We're using what, 3 to 5% of our brain. I love the movie Lucy. You saw Lucy, right?
Was that the one I may have?
Johanna, with the
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
beautiful
yeah, yeah.
blonde.
Where she got all the way to 100% of her brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they already have people that using their brain have levitated things. I believe that in the future we won't use words to communicate because words are very archaic. If I use a word that's above someone's vocabulary, I'm a moron because
They're like, what'd you
it,
call me?
exactly, exactly.
Well,
Um,
and I want to stop you there because I already agree, not only agree with that, but that's how art works. That's how music works. If you look at it, we're trying to communicate complex matters in a visual sense, so it's less offensive, right? Or in a audio sense, so that it can hit home harder, right?
but we
The
won't use
simplest
words.
of
We're going to
messages.
use what do you call it? Trans,
Telekinesis?
huh? No,
Telekinesis?
tell where you think a thought into someone's head. What is that called?
Oh, I thought it was ESP. Is that it?
No, no, no. Gosh, I always use that word too. I mean, your mother gave you a look when you were a kid. And you knew exactly what she was saying,
Pretty much.
right? I mean, your dog can
Yeah.
even look at you and you know he just got into some shit. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
what is
absolutely.
that called when you're your thought transfer? What is it called? I can't
I
think
have
of
no
the name.
idea.
Anyway, that's how we'll communicate in the future. And that's
Oh,
what
for sure.
aliens don't speak French or English or
Telepathy.
Swahili or German. They
That's what it
do.
is. It's
What is it
telepathy.
called? Come on. You're the guy who
Telepathy.
knows everything.
It's telepathy.
Telepathy.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're going to use telepathy to communicate. And
Right.
actually, Tesla is doing that now. He's implanting some things in your head that you could use to communicate. We don't have to talk. He's
Yeah,
doing that now.
that's a little weird. Me
A little
personally,
weird because
it,
we're not talking now. We have these phones, and we're certainly, you see a couple at the table, and they're not
yeah,
talking to each other, but they're texting each other or their friends or whatever. So we're already
right.
doing electronic telepathy, but in the future, it will just be, I don't have to call you. I could just think, I'm going to call Robert, and
Hmm.
we're connected. And imagine having 100 people call you at the same time.
Yeah, I kind of see that as one step closer to the Borg, though, really. You know?
Yeah, I
We're
don't.
like, "Ah,"
I mean, the future is bizarre. I watch
it
a lot
is.
of documentaries about what's coming in our future, and a lot of things that are here already. I mean, Tesla
Yeah.
has a $35,000 robot, price of a car, that will
Mhm.
do everything for you. Be your maid, your psychologist, your therapist, your programmer, your manager. Everything will do for you, and clean your car.
Well, and a lot of that, I'm kind of a forward thinker or a futurist in some ways. And I see what's happening with the government, and I'm not going into politics, but I do see that once everything is kind of, torn down or whatever is going to occur, that we're in a position where we need to kind of replace these thoughts and ideas and theories. And I'm starting a, white paper on what I believe would work in a government for the people, like a true democracy. And what I've seen is some of the future concepts, especially blockchain, can allow for all of us to work together and be in a great position to be represented individually, be secure individually, and be in a situation where goodness happens and we get rid of, oligarchs, we get rid of, you know, money doesn't make smartness, right? Being rich doesn't make you smart. And I've
Or
seen that
happy,
a thousand times.
or
Okay,
happy,
or happy, or kind, right? There's a
or
lot of,
kind, especially
yeah,
kind.
yeah, and it seems that it does that whole ego trip thing where I've got so much money, I can get, dumb people to do whatever the hell I want them to, so they have a chance of getting money. And I believe if we can remove that, almost a very Star Trek-ish idea, that we look at this as we are humanity and not subservient to any leader, we'd be in a better place. And those are the things I hope happen out of technology. But I can only write about it. I can't make it happen. There's always going to be those who want to worship a king, I guess.
Welcome to the Be Fantastic channel, where you will find many fantastic interviews with amazing people,
Visit the top world museums,
incredible zoos,
beautiful national parks.
special events, and much more.
These videos are designed to educate,
Inspire.
motivate, and entertain you.
We hope you will enjoy them.
Join the Be Fantastic philosophy.
Please subscribe.
Like and share.
What's your spin on AI? Because I've seen some really scary shit.
Well, artificial intelligence is, to me, okay, so I use it as a tool in photography and video, right? Which is great. That's artificial intelligence as a tool. Artificial intelligence as a philosopher, I'm not sure about, right? It has more information than I have, but does it have an emotional connection with the world? It doesn't breathe air, but it doesn't mean it's not alive or it's not going to be alive. Sentient doesn't have to mean, that it has the same organs and body I have. I mean, squirrels are sentient, octopuses are sentient, all those things.
It's going
So
to be conscious. I'm pretty sure it'll evolve into consciousness.
right, and all of our stories predict the worst, right? I mean, I hate to say it, but all of the ancient Bibles, all of them are stories of destruction and terror and hate and, trying to, overcome. So I see where in the history of humanity, we've got these ideas that it's a potential philosophical, Armageddon. Simultaneously, it allows for incredible thoughts and incredible ideas and incredible advancements to happen quickly, right? So I believe we're in a position, if people take over and we do things with the idea of maybe one rule, is it good for humanity type of thing, then we'd be in a great shape. But when you look at how the world kind of always, for some reason, leaders want to be powerful and they want to lead and, they want to own everything and all these weird, I don't even know what it is. It feels like it's some kind of mental disorder they all have. If that mental disorder gets applied to it, it could be terrifying. Because
Well, again, it goes back to the insanity of humanity.
right,
Imagine living in the gladiator days. The family packed up a lunch for Sunday to go down to the
correct,
Colosseum to watch lions chew off men's heads or men fight to the death. And that was entertainment. And so, but today the news is that same thing. I mean, for someone to be glued to the news every night, that's not going to make them happy. Do I really need to know how many people died today, how many natural disasters there were today? And then the blame game is, for years they do research to blame someone, spend millions and billions of dollars blaming who killed John F. Kennedy.
right.
The humans blame game, but humans are such evil creatures to the
We
core.
are. Yeah, I think so. I think kindness is taught. If you, I don't know if you have kids, but little kids, I mean, they're a blank
I got
slate.
grandkids.
Yeah, if you leave them alone, if you leave a kid alone, I mean, Lord of the Flies is the perfect example. They will become batshit, completely crazy, and do all the wrong things because we fail as a species to understand that morality is subjective, completely subjective to how we're taught and our environment. And the other thing that happens is we refuse to believe that there's thousands of different environments, right? Just the way you were born and raised and the way I was born and raised, even in the same country, if we were in the same country, could be completely different.
And they are.
Right. And so to start saying that because I believe a certain way, you should believe a certain way is just
Ludicrous.
it's ignorant. Yeah,
Ludicrous.
ludicrous is even better. It's just like whatever. It's so stupid, so wrong, so you know, it's a huge misunderstanding of how the human condition is.
And the human condition is, I keep going back to the insanity of humanity. I don't even know how males and females can get along. Men think from the waist down, women from the waist up. I
Correct.
mean, what do they say? Men are from Mars and women from Venus or whatever.
Correct.
It's crazy, this world. It's
It
so
is.
crazy.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
and that brings me back to, once again with the photography and the fine arts and stuff like that, because I do a lot of paintings. I've actually got a series I'm working on right now in painting, which is the thoughtful ones. Okay, so I've got
Right,
characters, the thoughtful ones, and then the not so thoughtful ones. And
right.
they intermingle in these situations. Like one of the ones I'm preparing to do is the thoughtful ones and the not so thoughtful ones are signing a treaty while there is a war going on behind them and a huge explosion happening in the middle of the painting. And
You
I
use oil? They're oils?
no, it's well, I didn't want to get crass, but it's hidden in there, but it's actually like a huge.
No, I mean the medium. Is it digital?
Oh,
Is it oil? Is it pastels? Is it
acrylic and ink. I do
ink?
acrylic ink and Sharpie.
Okay.
So I don't like getting my hands dirty. So I got into school for painting, and then I realized I can't be covered in linseed oil or rabbit oil. Yeah, it's just like no, thank you. I just can't do it.
That's
And so
funny.
and that's when I started photography. So I started as a painter, then moved into photography because I've got a little bit of OCD.
Well, I'm an eco artist, and I have this outfit that was used to be white, but
Mhm.
I wipe my hands when they get painted on, like on my pants and my shirt. And after months, it looks fantastic. And
Yeah, see, that would drive me crazy.
people say you should sell those
You
because
should.
it's so much fun to be able to wipe your hands. You know,
Uh,
when you're eating dinner, you got to have a napkin, you
yeah,
got to
yeah.
have whatever. But just to wipe your hands on your clothes is fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, and it's funny too. I've got my desk here, right? So I've got two computers, and then the edge of my desk, I've got all my paintbrushes and all that kind of stuff, and then I've got my paintings. And so I do a lot of unique religious takes. Like I've got a triptych where it's a kind of a depiction of the devil, a depiction of God, how we see him, and then it's this alien in the middle that's got the Ten Commandments. And
You pick that up real quick? Is it nearby?
yeah, I can pick up the
I want
Ten
to see it. Anytime aliens come into the picture, I gotta know, you know.
Commandments. So this is a work in progress, but I don't know if you can see it or not.
Well, that's very cool. So there, I
Yeah,
see the alien. What are the other two things you described?
these are the Ten Commandments. Oh, it's a
Oh,
triptych. So it's three different paintings.
okay.
They're all, one of them's hanging up that, so the other one is how we see the devil and how we see God. And in the middle of that is commandments brought to us by a whole different thought process, the
Okay.
alien.
Did you see the History of the World with Mel Brooks?
Oh, I love that show.
Remember the
And it was
15
the history of the
commandments?
world part one. Did part two ever come out?
I think, yeah, it did, yeah. But remember
Yeah.
he came down the hill with the 15 commandments?
Yeah, and then one
And
broke.
one broke the 10 commandments.
That was great. Yeah, that was that. And the fact that I love that, because Mel Brooks is Jewish, it gave him that ability to really mess with that story because the Old
Right,
Testament
right,
is very
right.
much a Jewish story. I
Well, I was
love
living in Egypt, and at that point, I had four commitments, not three like I have now. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to the planet, and say kind words. But then I
right.
realized you don't say kind words to your coffee typically. You say it to people. So, and humans are too dumb to have to remember four anyway, or 10
Right.
commandments. So it's three. So I was going to get these two tablets because I was living near Mount, wherever that mountain is, where Moses came down, and I was going to come down and say, "I bring you
It
these
was
8
Mount Sinai, right?
and drop for four commitments."
Right. Yeah, I'm not positive, but I thought he was on Mount Sinai or
Fine
something.
sound, yeah, I think that's what
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, let's go back to let's talk about history. And your history was pretty storied. You told me I think you had a relative that signed the Declaration of Independence. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
according to my mom, so the Thorntons, I come from the Thorntons, the Ramseys, and the Morrisseys, and Carreros. So I've got like this bizarrely sorted past. So on the Thornton side, the last person to sign the Declaration of Independence, at least the last line down there, Dr. William Thornton is my relative. And then on the Carrero side, Victor Carrero was he was in vaudeville for a while, and actually, how can I say? I always forget the word. He was because I don't deal with a lot of people like this. He was an actor, but he also represented a bunch of actors.
Okay.
And so some of the more famous actors, he represented them in vaudeville, and then they pulled him out to Los Angeles. And so he was out in Hollywood as Hollywood was starting.
Okay.
And so I've got pictures of him with, from Max Factor to Clark Gable. And then he was also a writer for Cinema Magazine. and he was also a producer and writer for films.
Mm.
So I've got all these like old recordings people haven't heard of all these people. It's unbelievable what he did. And then my grandfather on the Thornton side, once again, was one of the guys who helped Walt Disney raise the money for the first Disneyland there in California. My parents both graduated Hollywood High, all that kind of stuff. And then the Vietnam War happened, and my dad, being the good 18-year-old Christian kid, decided to sign up, and it totally fucked up his entire life and the trajectory of our family.
Do you ever do a family tree? That's
Yeah, my mom did all that kind of stuff. She got really deep into it. The Ramseys, I guess my bloodline's been traced back to about the 1300s.
wow.
Yeah, and that just shows, you know,
Well, I
some,
mean, all our bloodlines did, but
yeah,
most
yeah,
people can't trace it back or find it, because
yeah.
the sad thing about life is, in 100 years from now, you and I, no one will ever remember us.
Right. And the nice thing though is I've got that taken care of with my kiddos so that at least the traditions can be passed down. We've got all of the Ramsey stuff, and the Morrissey stuff. So we have not only the tartans, but the pins and the emblems and all that kind of stuff
Oh,
in
that's
place
cool.
for them. Yeah, my mom actually wrote a book that's about this thick of
Really?
all of that. And
Wow.
so we've got Austrians and all sorts of weird, bad beginnings, where somebody started off like the grandfather I was telling you about here, Carrero. He was a bastard kid and sent off to uh, British Guiana so that he could be raised there by his Spanish mother so that the father wouldn't be embarrassed. All that kind of crazy stuff,
Well, the only thing I can remember, because my sister did a big family tree. I was orphaned early on, so I really didn't get anything from my parents. But the only thing I can remember is that I might be a descendant of Captain Cook. My last name's Cook. Uh,
right?
and
And they're
there's
in
some
Florida.
amazing things that the Cooks did around the country, but I can't remember a thing of it. So, I mean, you have a memory, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, and my mom she was obsessed with it. Just obsessed. It fascinated her
Well,
from
a
the
book
beginning.
that thick, that's a pretty thick book.
Oh yeah. And there were some embarrassing moments where it's like, I don't think that
You
guy
say,
wearing the SS helmet looks like me at all.
oh, oh, wow.
Whoa. This
Right.
is Adam from Austria, but that's just humanity is very intertwined.
Yeah, it's like someone saying, "Yeah, my great grandfather was Hitler." It's
Yeah,
like,
right. It's like
oh, nice.
nice. Yeah. I'm glad. Hopefully none of that like spilled forward, buddy. You know. So
Life is so much fun, and it's what you make it. You have to really look at the brighter side of things. Again, we all make mistakes, and it's not our fault, or it's the great great granddaughter, and it's not their fault. Hitler did what he did.
yeah, right. But
It's
we should still learn from it.
got to learn from it. If we don't learn from our past, we repeat it.
And that's the problem. We're in a loop.
We are
We
insanity
are in a
of
loop that,
humanity.
yeah, and it just blows my mind that, because I'm considered, I guess a liberal. I don't know. And it's just one of those weird things where I don't see that as a real, it's not a bad thing. So I want people to be liberated and have rights and have happiness and own property and not be in a situation where they're always beholden to a government. And that's a bad thing. How did that become a bad thing?
Right, right.
Right? How did democracy of countries become a bad thing? Oh, it's because like 12 weirdos up at the top with mental derangement issues, they're in a position where they find it offensive and they've got a ton of money. So they tell all the people, repeat what I say. And it's a global problem we've had since the beginning of time.
Well, I'm trying to save the world with the kindness revolution, and I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but you're ambassador number 11,125.
Which means I feel early, but I feel late simultaneously.
When there's 11 million, you're going to be
Yeah, right.
an early guy. I tell people, like someone who's in the hundreds, you're 100, like John Paul DeJoria,
Hmm.
the guy from Paul Mitchell and Patron. He's 171. It's like, whoa,
Well, that's great.
yeah. And my sister's number 9, so I mean that's pretty good age.
That
They
that
always,
says that
everyone
the
always
two
says,
number
"What?"
nine people before you before
Well,
the
everyone always says,
pandemic,
"What number are you?" I go, "Actually, I don't have a number because
right?
when it started 5 years, 6 years ago, I was visiting a guy in a hospital, Paul Walton, most amazing guy. Every time I ran into him at an event, he'd have a different business card with a different celebrity that he posed with. Every
Okay.
time, another celebrity, and he was in the hospital. And I don't know how, I don't remember because it was such a long time ago. But I said I'm going to start something with my Be Fantastic thing. Would you like to be ambassador number one? And he said, sure. And he's ambassador number one.
Oh, that's great. And then it just kicked off. Now you're
Yeah,
11,000.
yeah, then two, then three, and there. Luckily for me, the 11,000 up to about 100 ago, I put in one at a time on the list on the worldkindnesslist.com, one at a
Mhm.
time. Now people can join just by going to the website and putting their first name, their city, and their country, and they get a number, and they're part of. Even if I don't need their contact information. I just want to know that they're going to follow the three commitments: be kind to
Right,
yourself, others, and the planet. And I'm happy with that. I don't need everyone to, be in a WhatsApp group. I just
right.
need people to be kind, and
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, and that's kind of what I've started slowly doing with some of the projects I'm working on, is trying to really move things over towards, uh, and I think it happens as you get older, but move things over to having more positive impacts. I mean, I've done a lot of, photography stuff where, you start seeing how the world's destroyed by corporations. And you start,
no
I've
shit.
decided,
Corporate
yeah.
greed. It's rampant. It's horrible. It's
Yeah, and so
disgusting.
you decide to work with companies that are more moral or ethical, or, build things that don't cause problems. Like photography used to be one of the most poisonous industries in the world.
Mm.
And then when it went digital,
Oh, because the chemicals.
oh yeah, I mean like, remember Kodachrome? Remember how it turned into Kodalux?
No, I don't remember that, but I remember putting solutions, the paper in solutions, and
Yeah, so well, Kodachrome filed bankruptcy because an artist developed his film outside of the factory in the lake. That's how many chemicals were leaking.
oh,
And then all of a sudden they filed bankruptcy, and it's no longer Kodachrome, it's Kodalux, because each film was its own business.
uh-huh.
And so you look at that, Fuji and Kodak were one of the number one and number two polluters in the world.
Right.
And now that's all gone. And that's a fantastic thing. I mean, none of
Well,
us,
somebody else took their place, I'm sure, because you know, and even
yeah, but
natural
now,
things like, remember Fukushima,
oh yeah,
the meltdown? It's still leaking 100,000 gallons of radioactive waste every day, 12 years later, every
yeah,
day.
which is, it's
Pretty
a
bad.
bummer. And
It's a bummer.
yeah,
A
that might be
bummer.
an understatement. Yeah.
An understatement. Yeah,
You
it's a
know,
bummer.
but
70% of the Pacific Ocean is radiated. Now, fishermen will catch, and I've seen pictures of it, two and three-headed fish.
and I
Right?
was gonna say that at least that's something cool.
Well, wait a minute. They chop the heads off and they sell the body, and you're eating a radiated fish, but because the guy's got to
Oh,
make money. That's
yeah.
insane.
Well, money itself is definitely the
Root of all
problem.
evil.
Yeah, it's the root of all evil. It's the root of all good as well, because of the way we allow it to function in society. But the fact that we all work for each other for something that's artificially created, artificially inflated, and artificially, you know, cast upon us as this is how we trade goods, is it's psychologically overwhelming when you realize the wrong path that humanity has gone on.
Built-in obsolescence.
Yep. Well, not just built-in obsolescence, but money itself. The fact that people do things specifically to get money, to buy things that are, being sold to them that weren't those corporations in the first place. Like oil and
Uh-huh.
gas. Why is that not everybody's oil and gas? Like, who
Right.
said you get to control what's under the ground? Like, go fuck yourself.
Greed. It's
Exactly.
greed.
Excuse my
Plain and simple
language.
greed. I think greed is the worst word on the planet, in my opinion, and
Right.
fantastic is the best.
Yeah. Well, what happens is you end up with that greed philosophy, and these people with, and I'm waiting because for doctors to come up with something, or therapists to come up with something, because, if you have OCD or ADD or ADHD, everybody's told about that. But what about these psychos that need to be in power? What is that? Is that, just megalomania? Is that what that is? Is that and at what point do we say, hey, these guys are mentally disabled? They have megalomania. They can't run. They're disabled. I mean, we
Right.
wouldn't let our buddies with schizophrenia run things.
And it's money that gets you elected.
Exactly. And it's money and it's insanity that people want to be there to they want to be there to control instead of contribute. And that's just not okay.
Well, if the three commitments, I'm totally convinced, and I think science and 11,000 people and or hundreds of thousands of people and logic dictate solve all mankind's problems. Because if we're kind to one another, we're not going to have wars or corporate
Right.
greed or poverty. Because we could there's enough resources on the planet to feed everybody. You know,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's enough resources. I mean, it's simple things like, the obsolescence. Not only is it complete obsolescence, but it's obsolescence of all the material. You take a dishwasher or the perfect example is a dryer, right? And everybody forgets that somebody had to dig into the ground to get the steel, to melt the steel, to create the stuff, just to start off. And then it lasts you about 4 to 5 years, maybe one or two repairs will be put in there, and then it's obsolete. And we have no exit strategy for that item.
right?
It just
No
gets
question.
tossed in the trash and they want to sell you another one. And that in itself is a psychological failure of society.
This is the better example, the phone,
Yeah. I
because
still
it's
have my
guaranteed
very
it has to
first
pay for
phone.
itself every 3 months, or whatever.
Right. Well, and obsolescence, I get obsolescence through the, you know, making things better.
No, no, it's greed. Obsolescence is greed. The
No, I
first
know,
light
but
bulb ever invented is still burning at the Smithsonian.
right, right. But I also like the computer I had in college is not nearly the computer I have now. But what
Right,
I'm saying is there's no the greed allows almost all companies to have a non-exit strategy for the stuff that is now obsolete.
right.
And that is the lack of kindness. That is that greed. If we
Yeah.
would say, dear, and McDonald's kind of went through this a long time ago. Remember those foam containers that they
Hmm.
just put out? And everybody was like, bro, these foam containers are all over our streets. Do something about
Right.
it. And they were like, hey, okay, we'll use paper. And then that stopped,
Remember
right?
the Pop Tops from the
Oh
beer
yeah.
cans and the Coke cans? They
Yeah,
are
you would pull up.
everywhere.
Exactly, exactly. And then, cigarette butts and stuff like that. It's like cigarettes were fine without the butt. You didn't need it. Tobacco smokes itself.
Speaking of which, it's a brilliant idea if they could get rid of the butts. 4.7 trillion cigarette butts get thrown on the ground each year.
Oh yeah,
Trillion.
I was in Marmaris, right? And in Turkey. And as the tide went back, there was a foot long, thing of cigarette butts for miles. And I was just like, what is going on here? It was just like, oh, that's from them throwing them off the boats. It's like
And
lucky
that's
strike.
nothing compared to the island of plastic we have in the Pacific, size of Texas, I'm told.
Yeah.
Plastic.
And that's part of, one of the projects I'm working on right now is to kind of clean that kind of stuff up and raise money for that in a
But the solution is accountability for your actions. Don't throw it
correct.
on the ground.
Well, and also when you see these problems, to go fix them.
Right.
I'm sure because you were talking about, some of the crazy stuff we see on TV, the news especially, brought to you by pharmaceutical companies that, if you take this pill, you might be cured or your butthole might itch for days, right? I don't know which one. Good luck, right?
Right.
I'm sure if we went out to this island of plastics and took out 4 or 5 scoops, we could see all the brands that are responsible
Oh, yeah, no
and
question.
and then be like, okay, what is your exit strategy for this? This is unacceptable.
And it's junk food. I travel the world and I see the kiosks, the little stores, the tiendas here
Hmm.
are stocked with potato chips and Cokes. And these children at 2 years old, or their lunch is a bag of Lay's potato chips and a Coke. That's their lunch. And so the rich people love this because that leads to diabetes, which makes them money, which
Right.
or leads to cancer, which makes them money. Because all the bad things make the rich money.
True. Yeah, and the reality of it is, the human being's designed to live off of several, we'd be better off having microgreens and wheat crackers,
Of course.
than and that's once again what is the psychological like malfunction of somebody who puts poison in a can with a little bit of water and decides this is the perfect thing. We need to have it go all over the place. We're going to be super aggressive. Anybody,
Money.
yeah, but
Simply
but
money.
at what point are we going to, as a society, see that as a psychological disorder? Like I said, you're not going to let
Education. Only way
you're
is
not
through education.
I don't know if that's true. The educate we can point at it. And that's where I get. I don't know if it's true because I don't know if those people will allow that to become the disorder that we see.
They
Right?
won't. They'll,
It's
they'll
like,
fight it like they fought electric vehicles for a long
right.
time, you
Well, the
know?
schizophrenic doesn't know he's schizophrenic,
Okay.
right? The person in charge doesn't know they're psychologically destroyed. I
Right.
mean, we're looking at this right now and I'm not, and, I'm not, this is not just American politics, right? We've got crazies everywhere. Even China,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
is it
I
asking its
know.
people what it wants to do, or is it just deciding it's doing its thing,
Yeah.
right?
I saw a special on North Korea. Oh my
Right,
goodness. What a horrible place that is.
right. And
They,
that's because of one person.
one person. And they're brainwashed from children as a child that he's God and don't talk to the world, just do what you're told. And I mean it's unbelievable what's going on over there.
Yeah,
It's
it's a cult. And
cult,
those are
yeah.
the things where if you really look at it, the person at the top of that has a psychological disorder.
Yeah.
And that's being kind, and these are some of the things I see is being kind, especially on a planet, is to say, hey, we recognize you have a psychological disorder. You can no longer really hold these keys because you're crazy. We don't want to hurt you, but you're hurting others. So if you could come with us, and we'll give you some relaxation. You can kick back. We'll make you feel in charge. You can, we'll give you some building blocks, maybe some real money. You can, sit in this place and play, but
Right.
the real adults here need to function.
I think every country should just mind their own damn business. I mean, if America wouldn't spend trillions of dollars trying to help the whole world, and it's usually just about commercialism anyway, and feed our poor and repair our infrastructure. Well, let me just say one last thing about infrastructure. Let's say, you know what? I think we talked about it last time. CME, coronal
Mhm.
mass ejection. It destroys all the electricity on the planet, and did it once before in the 1800s.
Right.
Well, I know the solution to this, and it's a couple $1 trillion to protect the grid. We could actually protect the grid and not go back to the Stone Age when another one happens, and it will happen, right? But
Mhm.
to spend $5 trillion as an example, which is enough money, we have enough money, we have trillions of dollars out there to protect the planet. You know why they won't do it? Because it's not profitable.
Right. Well, and it goes back to the same thing I was talking about. There's no guys, go.
Animals or children.
Dogs. They decided to tussle right there, right?
That's okay. Bring him in.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife actually goes out of her way we rescue dogs and stuff like that. And the whole
Oh,
family is
nice.
involved, but it's really her guiding
Be kind
light.
to animals. The second commitment is be kind to all others and the
Yeah,
creature.
to dogs. Yeah, we did had 52 dogs rescued through our house last year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It
But
is cool.
back to what you were saying is that's the issue that we have is this psychological disorder of not allowing companies to have an exit strategy, right? What's the exit plan with when we're done with your stuff? Oh, you can
Mhm.
trade it in and get a new one. Are you throwing it away? Are you handing it down to others? It's like Macintosh is the perfect example, right? I have 15-year-old Macintoshes that still function
Keep
perfectly.
them. They're collector's items.
Well,
Worth a lot of
but
money.
as a collector's, but what else can we do with these things?
They
There's
still
not,
work.
yeah,
Actually, it's funny you should say that because I'm supplying computers to the poor schools in Africa. That
right.
computer, it works. It's just,
Yeah.
it's not as sophisticated as today's computers, but it still gets you to the net probably, and it still gets you
Oh,
information.
absolutely. Yeah,
So one man's trash is another man's treasure.
right. But that's also a marketing campaign to allow to allow companies to release themselves from being responsible from the properties they've created,
Not only
right?
that, but I saw a documentary the other day where companies will actually rip up their high-end clothing or products because it's cheaper to rip it up than see it in someone's hands. They could use it
Mhm.
for their marketing and for their expansion for the next level of their product. You know what I'm saying? It's
Which that's a
disgusting.
that's a psychological disorder,
Yeah.
and that's when humanity comes to terms with the fact that we've allowed this bizarre psychological order to be our rulers, I think that's when we're going to have this aha moment.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the kings and queens of all these old countries, all of these, all of these types of things where they're like, oh, you don't agree with me, I'm going to cut your head off. That is in itself, I mean, that's illegal nowadays, right?
Yeah,
But
it's
there's no
amazing.
reason to bring it back. There's no reason it was good at the time. Discourse is a proper scenario. Being in a situation where we're trying to consistently and effectively push the world forward is fantastic, but allowing these people, and a lot of them end up with as CEOs, and they have to be responsible to their shareholders, and
Exactly.
profit is profit, and it doesn't matter how we get to profit. Is
Doesn't matter.
we hurt people and they lose their houses and they don't have benefits, fuck them all. We need to make money.
Yeah.
Is not okay.
No,
That
no,
is
I'm
that's
disgusted by it.
disorder, and it's
Well,
rampant.
it's like these two executives, they thinking we're spending $1 million paying people to take this toxic material away. So what do you say? No one's watching. Let's go dump it in the stream. It's going to go downriver away from us, and we save $1 million. Isn't that a
Correct.
great idea? That's the mentality of the greed.
Yeah, and that is something that is inherently, it's all over the place right now. But I think we're in this wake up moment of, hey, first off, why did the chemicals become toxic?
Right,
Sounds like that might have been bad science,
right.
you know, and
And our buddy Richard has the solution for tailings. Our
he
mutual buddy
does.
Richard.
He has the
That's pretty
solution
cool.
for tailing.
Yeah.
Well, and what I'm trying to do with the coin we're getting ready to launch, the GlowGen coin, is I'm really trying my hardest to create something that aids the not-for-profit status scenario, because that's a linear scenario, right? That's
Right,
once again kind of based off of a good idea with a little bit of madness to it, right?
right, right.
And so the idea that you have to be out there at all times trying to pull in, money every time, every time, every time, instead of creating something that circularly has the ability to have your money come in, we can
Sure,
use,
sure.
you can pull your money out. That's what we're trying to build here at GlowGen.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's a little different, and I didn't get into it too deep because we're launching it and stuff like that, and there being
Yeah,
these
yeah. We'll do
on it.
another one. But we're gonna wrap this. I think we've been
Okay.
talking for an hour, if you can believe it.
I know. You just ramble.
And that's how time flies, you know. It's a
Yeah.
shame that people will sit up next to someone for 8 hours on a plane and not say a word to them. And we're all connected. If you just said hello to your neighbor and start chatting, the 8 hour flight goes by very quickly. You probably don't even want to watch a movie because you're having a
Oh
great
yeah.
conversation, right? But what
I'm
I want
literally
to end
one of
this
the
with is that this nowadays, when we talked earlier about in 100 years, no one will ever know about us, but we have these kind of shows like this. And we have pictures, digital pictures that will last a long time. Well, I want you to talk to the audience now, as if it's 100 years from now, and give a little closing comment on get your shit together. In other words, how can we help the world? You're part of the kindness revolution. I'm happy to have you on board. It's all about
yeah.
being kind, of course, but I want to hear your spin on talk to the audience there.
Well, I think we've kind of started already going down that road. The thing I would say, especially, is hopefully 100 years from now, we have taken out this portion of humanity that needs to feel the control over everybody and needs to feel the need to profit constantly and needs to feel that, the only thing important in the world is being rich, instead of understanding that if we all could work together, hold hands together, we could actually be a interstellar type of scenario. I mean, Star Trek was not wrong. That is the way humanity should go. And we should care for everybody and everything on the planet. I mean, even the Bible says we are stewards of the planet. And then somehow it gets twisted into only if we're making money. It's
Right.
it's it, I've never seen such a atrocity, you know. And if you need immediate, you know, inspiration, listen to punk music, listen to old hip hop, you know, all this kind of stuff. It's all there. We're all saying it. We just need to have the powers that be to recognize that everybody's screaming it. Get these guys and girls that are megalomaniacs out of the way of humanity.
Yeah, very well put. Now, I'd like to conclude with having you repeat after me what I call the global kindness pledge that
All
will
right.
that will manifest itself in years to come, because the children now in Nigeria and a few other countries over there are saying it every day, and I'm getting tangible results, because it's words that matter, and when you say it out loud, it does manifest into.
Oh, for sure.
So here's how it goes. I pledge to be kind to and love myself.
I pledge to be kind to and love myself.
I pledge to be kind to and strive to love all others and the creatures.
Oh shit, I blanked.
I pledge to be kind to love and strive to love all others and the creatures.
And strive to love all others and the creatures.
I pledge to be kind to love and respect our Mother Earth.
I pledge to be kind to love and respect our Mother Earth.
We are all fantastic.
We are all fantastic.
You are fantastic.
You are fantastic.
I am fantastic.
I am fantastic.
Do you feel the power of that?
Yeah, I love it. Smiles, all the whole nine.
It's man, and usually I get hundreds of videos from around the world of people in classes reciting that. And typically when it's in a class with a number of kids, they just like they throw up their arms and they like want to celebrate at the end of it. And that I believe that is one of the goals of my foundation, and it's coming into a whole lot of money. Is I'll be able to distribute it around the world, the poster, and we're going to encourage the ministries of education, to encourage the districts, to encourage the schools and the principals and the teachers to have them recite it. It's not political. It's not commercial, because everything I do is free. In this, well, I'm calling it now the Global Kindness Social Network, where everyone, like as an example, are you going to sell your paintings at all?
I do really want to, yeah.
Okay, here's how this is going to work. The social network is going to have it's going to be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all combined, with also a built-in conferencing like we're doing here. But if you decide to give a small discount on your paintings to other ambassadors of kindness, you're building a loyal following, and you're thanking people for being kind. And a small discount could be $1. It doesn't matter the amount. You're telling people, buy from me, and I'm going to thank you for being part of this kindness revolution. Does that make sense?
I've got no problems with that. And I would
There
do
you
that.
go. I mean, everything I'm saying about the revolution makes sense. Be kind. That makes sense to yourself, others, and the planet. It all makes sense. But when we get now 11,000, when we get 11 million or more, then it's really going to have probably a power of its own, and it's just a philosophy, you know.
Well, what I see is you're creating the baseline of what humanity kind of should be, and we just repeat it. And with that baseline in mind, that could be the thing that actually cures the problems that we were talking about.
Can I quote you on that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I agree.
That's wonderful. I love that, what you just said.
Yeah, people like I said, there are people that are mentally disabled running things, and I don't mean disabled that they're not smart. They just don't know that they've got these problems.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is if they were taught as young people to be kind and do all the kind things and care for everything,
and reminded daily, because this is teaching the youth and reminding everyone else.
Correct.
We need to be reminded, because we're pretty stupid.
It's a baseline.
It's stupidest creatures on the planet.
Yeah, you can build on top of that. No, it's fantastic.
Okay, Robert, thank you for your time. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your intelligence and your curiosity and all the things that you're doing. I'm happy you're married with children and taking care of dogs and creating art. I mean, you are the 1 percentile of the world, really.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you being part of the Kindness Revolution. This will come out next Monday.
All right.
Which is whatever the date that is. I don't know what the hell. I'll keep track of time too much.
Sometime in April.
What's that?
Sometime in April.
Sometime in April, exactly. Happy Easter, everybody. And now, after this, you're going to have the cooking episode. Between every episode, or in every episode, I do one of my cooking classes. because
Awesome.
I love cooking, I love eating, and that's
That's
how it works.
great.
Yeah.
All right.
Robert,
Well,
have a fantastic day. Thank you for everything, and
yeah, thank you.
we'll talk soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
So today's episode is sponsored by the Spur of the Moment podcast, everybody. Come join us every Saturday, and we're going to do this. We're going to sit here. We're going to talk about the news. Time to talk about the Minecraft.
Okay.
It looks
So,
bad. We're going to talk about movies. That new Joker movie is apparently terrible, and I want to see it so badly because I hear it's awful. And we're going to make some jokes. We're going to have some laughs.
There's a lot of funny jokes in there. There's a lot of weird jokes in there. The Channing Tatum one will always make me laugh, especially when you hear the behind the scenes stuff. Like when you hear the behind the scenes story of how they just phoned them up.
We're occasionally going to have other people along for the ride.
A really fun fact, though, is I learned last year that that Coraline was Leica and not Disney.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I can see why you would make that
Yeah.
mistake. Yeah. Because it does seem like it's a different. And to be fair,
That would be a horrifying, terrible Disney movie.
it would be because yeah. And we're just gonna have a generally good time. George, do you have anything else you want to say about our podcast? Make people watch it.
We watch movies. Sometimes we watch shows, but we always have fun.
Here
On the
man,
spur,
of
on the spur,
of the-
on the
spur.
3, 2, 1. On the spur of the podcast moment.
Yeah, we nailed it. Nailed
Spur
it.
of the
That's
moment
fun.
podcast.
Yeah. It's Spur of the Moment podcast every Saturday. We nailed it.
You can expect awesome content like that.
We cut flawless promos every single week.
It's time for another cooking episode with Dr. Fantastic. You're going to see a fun, fast, economical, delicious, and inexpensive. Did I say that already? Fast. Here's what I always say. Fast, easy, economical, and delicious. That's enough. That's 4 good ingredients. Get in the kitchen. Have fun. Learn how to cook if you don't know how to cook. Because you might have to cook for yourself one day. You know, the restaurants might close down, and what are you going to be? Here in Antigua, a restaurant right across the street, and the streets are about 20 feet wide, opened up. And so I've been eating some really great Argentinian food. I love all food, and I love cooking, and I love sharing my recipes with you, the world. Please like and share, and subscribe to my Befantastic YouTube, which has hundreds of different recipes from around the world as I travel. Whether I'm in a hostel, whether I'm in a mansion, whether I'm on a farm, a CBD ranch, a yacht, even camping. I've done a lot of episodes, and hopefully you'll enjoy them and learn something from it. Anyway, it's all for fun. Life is for fun. It's a game of life. Just have fun in life. Don't take it so serious. Don't take cooking serious, but enjoy this next episode. I'll see you at the end of the show. Bye. Welcome to another episode of Dr. Fantastic Cooks. I'm here in my condo in Antigua, Guatemala. It's Saturday, and it's Holy Week here in Antigua. 1 million people descend upon the city during this week. It's a spectacle that you must see. And if you can't afford to get to Antigua, I put a couple videos up before this one. And last night at 3 a.m, I'm hearing this bong, bong, bong. I go, oh, it's a procession coming. So I go outside. I should have came out a little earlier, and I put the camera on. And 3 a.m, they're marching, and they march very slow. So I did. There's 2 floats that went by. Check it out. It's pretty cool. And of course, there's some videos before that of the floats, of the decorated streets. Every year they paint the streets with these beautiful. I collected a bunch sawdust, colored sawdust, and flowers and everything. This was what I did last year because I'm an eco artist, and I created this. And it says Semana Santa 2024. This is the wreaths they sell, and of course this is trash. This was a piece of cardboard, and so I take trash, as you know, as an eco artist, and I make art out of it. So this was one of the wreaths that was run over by a car, and I put all the different colors
into it. I'm creating another one for this year. And as you might see on the previous videos, they paint certain patterns. So this is like a pattern maybe they've done on the road, on the cobblestone streets. Anyway, so as you know, you have to have a cocktail before the meal or before you cook it. And so if it doesn't come out right, you don't mind. But what I did tonight is I bought some Jose Cuervo. I spoiled myself. I bought a fancy brand. And this is 90 Quetzal. It was on sale. It's about $12. This is about $6. It's the local brand. What is it? Cerro de Oro. So I thought I'd do a taste test. And I did it earlier, but I wanted to show you on camera. So I'm having 2 taste tests. And, like wine, which I'm having, I bought a bottle of wine for the pizza. By the way, tonight's episode is pizza, but I did a twist on it, which I've never done before. I'm going to show you in a minute. And, you got to have fun in the kitchen. Just have fun. And if you have a couple cocktails before or during or even after you're cooking, it doesn't matter if it comes out well or not. So this is, you can tell by the color. It's this one, Cerro de Oro, is a little lighter. Jose Cuervo's famous brand. My best friend, one of my dear friends, John Paul Giorgia, sold Patron Tequila for $5 billion. Bless his heart. And he's a big supporter of my foundation. Anyway, so let me try this one. Again, it's a lighter and it's very smooth. This one has more of a smoky taste. It says blue agave. Then you want to chase it with beer. I like ice. It's especially when it's cold and refreshing. It's the poor man's beer here in Guatemala. It's cool to drink gallo. Man, it's like, be cool. I like taste, and I think ice is fantastic, and so I drink ice. A lot less expensive, but gallo, yeah. So the pizza's in the oven, and what I did this time, and by the way, make your life easy. I'm not a baker. I'm a cook. I'm a chef. And so basically, if you make the pizza dough yourself, you have to be a baker because baking is precise. The right amount of salt, the right amount of yeast, the right amount of flour and water. And it can come out wrong. So Betty Crocker sells a very inexpensive pizza mix, which I use now. And I've done it both ways, but I mean, make your life easy. You take the mix, you put a little warm water in it, you mix it up, you let it sit, you spread it out. Just makes life so much easier. Make your life easy. You have to, because you want to be happy. You don't want to be miserable. Anyway, so what I did this time is I took the crust, spread it out, and I put Emmental around the outside edge, and then I rolled the pizza dough over it. So I have stuffed crust pizza. My first time, I think, ever. I don't think I've ever done stuffed crust pizza before. It is, let's see, 7 after. It's been in there at about 400 degrees. Then these pizza ovens, you ever been to a really, really good pizza place? It's thin crust. I like a thicker crust, but they're usually thin crust. And literally, they put the pizza in, and it's less than 5 minutes. It's cooked. Because, the bottom's heating, the top's heating. It's pretty cool. Pizza ovens are the way to go. This is not a pizza oven, but let me check on it real quick. Take a peek. Oh, it's looking good. Oh, just a few minutes. So as you know, I've had 2,100 videos here talking to an inanimate object by myself all around the world. And so I'm pretty used to vamping. They call it vamping when you have to stall for time. It's a showbiz term. As you know, I was raised in show business. But so anyway, how I finish the pizzas nowadays is I put avocado on it. I love avocado. It's healthy. It's a good thing to eat. It's not expensive here. They're about 50 cents each, depending on the season. So after the pizza comes out, I'll put a little avocado on it. I'll get my wine and enjoy a nice meal. And that's life, I mean, eating is one of life's best pleasures. And if you eat with your family, which I really suggest you do, because a family that eats together stays together. People are so busy working. Take the time out to sit with your family, enjoy a meal, put the electronics away, put the toys away, and talk to your children. Tell them you love them every day.
It's very important to tell your loved ones you love them every day, because one day it will be your last day, and if you didn't tell them, you're going to regret it. So live every day as though it's your last, because one day it will be. I live pretty large. I've lived a pretty amazing life. Knock on wood, I'm still kicking. I've come close to death many times, and I'm going to kick down death's door when it comes. But in the meantime, I'm going to party like a rock star. And hopefully people are taking my advice. They're learning how to cook. They're taking my recipes. They're learning how to think. Learning how to think is the ticket. Thinking positive. I ran into a guy today. He was homeless. Gave him a few dollars and gave him some advice. Go volunteer. Think positive. Don't think it's not going to happen. The world's going to fall apart. Think you're going to get a job. Think you're going to get a meal. And I give him a place where he can give him enough money to he can eat for the next week. Because there's a place called it's called Santa Familia. And for one Q, which is about 20 cents, it's a delicious meal. And I would feed a lot of people there. I used to feed 100 people a week at the park. But then the police said, no, you can't have a little table. This was the table, actually. This table I use now for my art, because my computer does my other show, The Complete Guide to Kindness. I'm sorry, it's The Complete Guide to Happiness. And that's what we're here for, to be happy. So check that out. It's on YouTube. But this is Be Fantastic YouTube, where no politics, no business, no religion, just fun videos to make you happy, make you smile, to make your day. And it's free. See, humans don't like free. I don't know. They just think because there's no inherent value, you didn't pay for it. Just the other day I was at a convention, and they were handing out free beers, and there was a lot of half-drunken beers all over the place. And it was a great example because it was free. Had they paid for the beer, they'd drink the whole damn thing. But because it was free, people. As you know, I call it the insanity of humanity. Crazy things that humans do to humans. It's insane. And I'm doing what I can to try to correct it. We've got the Global Kindness Pledge, which children are reciting around the world, and it's showing remarkable results because it's called manifestation. If you say you're beautiful every day in the mirror and out loud, you think you're beautiful, and that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It's what you think. If you think you're ugly and the whole world thinks you're beautiful, that's a travesty. And it's not looks that count, it's what's inside that counts. What's inside. This thing recording? Sometimes I've done 20, 30-minute dissertations, presentations, whatever you want to call it, and I look at it and it didn't record. You can't let anything upset you. If the pizza doesn't come out, it's not the end of the world. People are taking life too serious. Don't take it too serious. There's this, and as I told the guy today, the homeless man, there's a silver lining to every cloud. Think positive. Go and volunteer. Someone will probably feed you. Give them enough money to eat at all the shelter places for the next week. You got to think positive. You got to know it's going to work out. Because it's going to work out. Everything happens as it should, when it should. And so let's see if I'm correct in assuming that statement. Let's see if the pizza's ready. Hold on one second. Letting the camera roll because I don't feel like editing, especially after 2 cocktails. Let's see here. It looks like a pizza. Oh yeah, I think we have a pizza here. Okay, so I have a pizza pan. See, I put oil on the pizza pan, so it slides right off. Let's see here. Get a knife. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can see it's a little thicker here because it's stuffed with Emmental. I don't know if I just discovered Emmental, but I tell you, it is one delicious cheese. So I'm going to put the slices of avocado around the pizza. That's what I do. Now this fork here, I was thinking about it today. I've been traveling for 5 years. Literally every meal I eat at home, in the condo, in the hostel and wherever I'm at, I've eaten with this fork. I did lose the spoon and the knife because when I packed up my goods, or my few things that I had that I was going to bring with me around the world 5 years ago, I knew I needed a fork, knife, and spoon for the journey. Okay. Now, I never eat here. I always eat over there, but today I decided to do an art project. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to buy one of those pizza slicers, but I haven't yet. Okay, see that? Whoa. See, everything happens in life as it should. It fell over. No big deal. Don't let anything upset you. Because if you let anything upset you, you let it upset you. Okay, so no more beer, wine time. Here's to hopefully a successful pizza. It looks pretty good. But looks can be deceiving. I'm going to take a bite of the crust because that's my change today. Well, fast, easy, economical, and delicious. That's my motto. This pizza, I'm going to say, cost me less than $4. That's a good deal. The life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. Thanks for watching. This might air on next week on the complete guide to happiness. I hope they don't wake me up at 3 a.m, but it was worth getting up and going out and filming it. You got to check out the video. It's on Befantastic YouTube here. It was pretty amazing. I mean, right outside my front door, 1 million people descend on this little village. It's amazing, and it's so solemn because it's a funeral. Nobody's partying. They're just walking, solemn faces, because it was the death of their beloved Jesus. Anyway, have a fantastic day. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Be kind to Mother Earth. Join the kindness revolution at worldkindnesslist.com. It's real easy. Put your first name, your city, country, what you do, profession or student. You don't have to put your numbers or your emails. We don't care about that. This is free. But if you want to be updated, of course, you want to keep track of things, you could put your WhatsApp and join a group. And within a minute, you have your ambassador number and you're on the list. Check it out, worldkindnesslist.com. Thanks for watching. Be fantastic. The 3 commitments solve all mankind's problems. Literally. It's proven. Bye-bye. Did you like that interview with Robert? Did you like the cooking episode? Well, I hope it put a smile on your face. I must enunciate. I had a radio show in Los Angeles, and they said don't use the word P, as in radio it pops, and you don't want the microphone to pop. So I would always say, well, I'm possibly and practically the most positive person on the planet. If my name was Paul Piget, which is a friend of mine, that would even be more fantastic. So I like to break the rules, as you might have noticed if you've ever followed me on my Be Fantastic YouTube channel. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like following the rules, and because rules were made to be broken. But the most important rule is that you make yourself happy. No one's going to make you happy. The show might put a smile on your face, might teach you a thing or two about life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, but it's up to you to be happy. So if you need me to talk to you personally, I will do that because I love making people happy. And this is just one of the shows that hopefully is helping do it. So whatever you're doing that's making you happy, keep doing it. Have a fantastic week. Please tell your friends about the show because maybe they can benefit from it, But they're certainly going to benefit from it from words if you say, have a fantastic day. That's a very important thing to say. Don't say have a good day to people. Say have a fantastic day. And I want you to have a fantastic day. I want you to have a fantastic week. I want you to be fantastic. I want you to be kind to yourself. first and foremost. I want you to be kind to all others, and I want you to be kind to our Mother Earth. See you next week. And remember, whatever you're doing that's making you happy, keep doing it. Or find something that will make you happy. Isn't that a novel idea?
I met Dr. Fantastic along life's way, and I heard him say, you gotta say, I am fantastic, la la la, I am fantastic. You can feel it if you say it. It ain't a game, you gotta learn how to play it. Fantastic, fantastic. Just listen to the doctor. He's a rocker. He walks around all day. He ain't plastic. He's not sarcastic. He says, I am fantastic.